Audio Jungle.
Two die in ferry St. Elizabeth crash. Two people died in a ferry crash on the Hollis Main Road near Black River on Saturday. The deceased has been identified as Gary Berry, a resident of Crawford District, and Andrea Walters, a resident from Brompton District. Preliminary reports are that about 12:05 p.m., Berry was driving a motorcycle towards Black River when, upon reaching the subdivision entrance, he collided with a white Toyota Foxy taxi. Reports suggest that the taxi had been turning into the subdivision when the crash happened. The impact resulted in the motorcycle igniting into flames. Several injured persons, including Berry and Walters, who were passengers in the taxi, were rushed to the nearby Black River Hospital. Berry and Walters were pronounced dead at the medical facility. The Area 3 Accident Investigation and Reconstruction Unit is probing the crash. The driver of the Toyota Foxy taxi is now in custody. Bodies of Jessop principal, wife back in Ireland ahead of February 8 funeral. The body of the late principal O'Neill Stevens and his wife, Camisha Lindsay Stevens, have been returned to Jamaica in preparation for their funeral. Stevens and his wife were killed in a motor vehicle accident in South Carolina in the United States on January 3rd. The funeral has been set for February 8 at the Holy Trinity Cathedral on North Street in Kingston. Family members told reporters that the bodies were shipped home and arrived in the island earlier this week. Stevens and Lindsay Stevens died in the accident that took place in Myrtle Beach as they were on their way to the airport to catch a flight home to Jamaica in preparation for the January opening of school. A memorial service was held in Myrtle Beach recently for family members and friends who would be unable to attend the funeral in Jamaica. Stevens and Lindsay Stevens had spent the Christmas holidays with the latter's mother in Myrtle Beach. Stevens, his wife, their two daughters, his mother-in-law, and a cousin were traveling to the airport when the car being driven by the cousin developed a flat tire and they pulled off to the side of the road. The beloved principal, his wife, his mother-in-law, and the cousins all got out of the vehicle to change the flat tire. While outside the car, they spotted a van driving at high speed, and both Stevens and his wife began running to the embankment, but they were struck by the vehicle. Stevens died on the spot, while his wife died on arrival at an urgent care center. Their children, his mother-in-law, and the driver of the vehicle in which they were traveling were not injured. No arrest has been made in connection with the incident. Reporters understand that the driver of the vehicle that struck the couple remained on the scene and passed a breathalyzer test. Police Commissioner apologizes for exposure of Sissoko records. Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake has issued an apology following the exposure of sensitive records belonging to the Police's Center of Investigation of Sexual Offences and Child Abuse at its Old Harbour headquarters on Ruthven Road, St. Andrew. Blake, in a media release on Friday, described the incident as gross negligence, stating, "These colleagues cannot be described as anything less than gross negligence on our part as an organization, especially at a time like now when our transformation is at such an advanced stage and moving at such a rapid pace. The unit has come under public scrutiny for being negligent in handling sensitive data across documents, and all station files were reportedly found scattered at an abandoned location." Blake, in his response, explained that our Sissoka's office was situated at 2A Ruthven Avenue for over 20 years. In 2024, the office was relocated to a new facility at Upper Lady Musgrove Road in St. Andrew. The release added that during the transition, some records that could not be accommodated at the new location were securely locked away in a temporary storage facility, which was later vandalized. Acknowledging the organizational oversight that allowed such an incident to occur, Blake said, "For that, as the person with command responsibility over the JCF, I apologize not only to the clients of Sissoko, but also to Jamaica." He added that instances of blunders like these are what give fuel to the false narrative and open footgate of unfair character slandering of the JCF. This, he said, by describing us as lacking common sense and the understanding of our obligations and responsibilities. Sissoko is a unit of the Jamaican Constabulary that investigates sexual offenses and child abuse. Its mission is to encourage victims to report abuse, investigate allegations, and help victims rehabilitate. Sky high frustration. Homeowners of Ruth Ventures Phase 1 in New Kingston are demanding an immediate reduction in their mortgage payment from the National Housing Trust NHT, citing the agency's failure to deliver promised amenities to the development. The residents are also growing frustrated with the NHT's slow response to address some 70 in-unit defects that have been reported. Anthony McCoy, president of the interim Ruthven Towers Strata, told reporters that promised amenities such as a swimming pool, multipurpose court, gym, and other recreational facilities have yet to be built. Instead, a meeting room was converted into a makeshift gym, which donated equipment from residents. Dwayne Burbick, Assistant General Manager for Corporate and Public Affairs at NHD, said the agency had always planned to develop Ruthven Towers on a phase basis. When we advertised, the amenities were scheduled to be included in Phase 2 of the project, Burbick said, noting that due to various considerations, the approach to Phase 2 was reconsidered. He, however, pointed out that to avoid further delays in the delivery of the amenities to the residents, the NHD has moved to include amenities as part of Phase 1. Burbick said representatives of the residents were advised in meeting from as early as September 2023 that in order to include the amenities in Phase 1, the NHT would need to divide the property into two lots, obtain titles for the two lots, and submit a new strata plan for the existing apartment block for approval. The NHD spokesman said that the trust would, therefore, proceed to have the communal facility for Phase 1 designed and constructed. Since September 2023, attempts at identifying a developer for Phase 2 of the project have been unsuccessful as proposals from a request for proposals were not considered viable. Burbick said the NHD is in the process of procuring the services to design the phase and that the related tender of document is scheduled for September 2025. However, McCoy laments that the prospectus for the development indicated that amenities should have been available in Phase 2 by December 2024. Phase 1, 14 two-bedroom units, sold at $38 million each, and 72 one-bedroom units with a sale of $28 million each were handed over to homeowners in August 2022. McCoy argued that the amenities were factored into the mortgage calculation because the NHD would not have been able to increase the mortgage later and that the delay is depriving residents of the full value of their homes. On September 21 last year, the Strata president wrote the NHD managing director Martin Miller requesting that the mortgage payments be adjusted due to the lack of amenities. The letter, a copy of which was seen by reporters, emphasized that when the residents committed to their mortgages, they expected full access to the advertised amenities, which have been delayed until at least May 2027. Burbick told reporters that the NHD had advertised a joggling trail, a meeting room, and laundromat as amenities to Ruthven Towers Phase 1. These have been provided except for a defined area for jogging, he noted, adding that all of these other amenities such as gym, swimming pool, and tennis court were scheduled for Phase 2. Responding to the residents' push for a reduction in mortgage payments in the absence of some amenities, Burbick said requests for modification in mortgage payments can be considered in prescribed circumstances such as loss of job, illness, or reduction in income, and the level of arrears in mortgage payments may be taken into account. He said the NHD works with its mortgagors to see improvement in compliance. In addition, Burbitt notes to the delay in the formal establishment of the strata, the NHD as it would order if the development assists in the management of the property. However, McCoy reasoned that if the owner of a two-bedroom apartment wants to rent or lease it, he would be at a disadvantage as the asking price for the unit would have to be marked down owing to the absence of some amenities. One can imagine a homeowner who has a two-bedroom apartment here. After paying close to $40 million, you're paying a mortgage of $230,000 per month, and now wanting to tenant or lease your property to someone else. There is nobody in Jamaica who is going to pay $230,000 to rent a property in New Kingston without amenities, he emphasized. Without the amenities, you cannot recoup anything. The residents' frustration also extends to ongoing in-unit defects. Mackay said all the homeowners have experienced problems with their units. Among the myriad reported defects are leaking roofs of the top floor, tiles lifting, bedroom door misaligned and cannot close. not to mention faulty window locks and water not flowing from the bathtub in other apartments because of substandard drainage and piping. McCoy said despite the residents complying in less than over 70 defects and sending it to NHD, many issues remain unresolved 2.5 years later. Berbick said new building projects typically have a standard defect liability period of 6 months. He said the NHD, in consultation with the residents, has extended these defects liability period to September 2025 for and in-unit faults, which are to be addressed by the trust. He added that all major defects preventing occupancy have been fixed and that minor defects are grouped for repair through a single procurement process. The NHD spokesman said in keeping with the timeline communicated to the residents in September 2024, proposals were returned and are being evaluated to facilitate contract approval. This award will be made to a single contractor to remedy the report defected to units. For the final set of the in-unit defects, the procurement process has commenced in engaging a contractor to effect the necessary repairs, he added. Another concern highlighted by the residents is the delay of receiving property titles. McCoy explained that because the property has not been subdivided, homeowners cannot yet receive their titles. Berbick acknowledged this delay, explaining that the process of subdividing the property and obtaining titles involves several government agencies, making it difficult to predict when the titles will be available. However, the NHD is working to expedite the process where possible. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.